Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Speakers Bank podcast, Our Voices, Our Views. This is your host for this episode, Mimi Laurelia, the program coordinator of Speakers Bank. And I have been in touch with our previous students who did their work placement with us. We're just chatting with them and getting to know where things are at after the placement. And today I have Harshani, and I hope I could get your last name right, Ekanayake. Is that correct, Harshani?
Yes,
How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Harshani, for giving me your time today to chat with you about your
Pleasure.
experiences with Speakers Bank. And it has been a while since we've last seen each other face to face. So I'm so excited
Yes,
to hear from
last
you
year.
and what you've been doing. Yes, it's last year. So, Harshani, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? I know that you are an international student, but give the viewers a little bit of a background in terms of how you've come to Australia, how you've met me, why did you do your placement at Speakers Bank? So let's backtrack a bit if you don't mind.
I'm still an international student, and Speakers Bank was my first placement, which I started in mid June 2019, and so currently I'm doing my second placement at another working agency. So. Uh, Honestly, Speakers Bank was the first place where I got my first professional experience in Australia. So I was really glad that I had the chance to work with you.
Mm. So can you tell the viewers right now, what is your course? What is this thing that you're studying here in Australia that led you to, being connected to Speakers Bank?
So I'm pursuing a Master of Social Work at Federation University in Ballarat. So it's all about helping people, working for the communities, and especially working for the people to, raise awareness about the difficulties faced by marginalized communities in Australia. So it can be disability, it can be people from culturally and linguistically different background. So it can be people who are suffering from domestic violence. So basically what we do is we raise our voice for the betterment of these marginalized communities in Australia.
Mm-hmm. Before going to Australia, what was your background in your home country that made you pursue the Masters in Social Work here in Australia?
So I was actually from the politics background. I used to work for the foreign ministry in Sri Lanka, and I was in the diplomatic service. So I had the chance to work with people from different countries and who share the same political background. So what happened was I had the chance to work with people who are suffering from post-war depression during my work time, and I also had time to work with people from Asian countries who were having political issues because of the long-term war environment. So that actually made me, I really want to go back to my country after my master's and contribute to the development of the marginalized communities again who are suffering because of the political background in Sri Lanka.
Mm-hmm.
So
maybe when you go back to Sri Lanka, you'll not only get a master's in social work, maybe you'd like to become a lawyer and study again. But if you want to go back.
Yes.
That's good because you will be the next Mrs. Clooney, Amal Clooney, working for the marginalized groups.
Of course, yeah. And I forgot to tell you that I already have a master's in international relations. I started in 2016 and I completed my master's at Lathrop at 2017. So
yeah. Wow. You've got all these qualifications under your belt. I'm pretty sure that when you go back home, it will be very beneficial for the wider community
yes.
with all those projects that you will be involved with and in your future job.
Yes.
But let's
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
What I realized was, while I was working with children who were suffering from post-war trauma, and there were a lot of, government services that were working for them. But I realized that there was like a lot of corruption going because of the the politics, the people who are trying to steal under the whatever the aid that's coming from other countries and all. So I really wanted that I need to get some skills and knowledge to tackle those things, and I was really powerless during that time. So I really need to make a network who can raise the voice against those really like about political characters who are stealing from people.
So, I think what you can do is create your own speakers bank when you go back to your home country and use that same model that we have so that the voices of the marginalized can be heard. So going back to your experience when you first started, what did you feel? Because you don't know anything about Speakers Bank, you're not sure about what it is that you're doing. At that time, what was your expectation about the placement? Do you have any expectations?
Yes, of course. So as I mentioned earlier, Speakers Bank was my first, where I got my first professional experience. So I was a little nervous when I first joined. I did some research before I faced the interview, and I got to know about the principles that are set by the Victorian government for disability service providers, and what about the language that we use around disability areas. So those things, I did a brief research, and also I wanted to, after joining Speakers Bank, I did not have any idea of how to do networking, about communicating with other councils and all that. But I think after the first few weeks, after your sessions and all that, we learn about communicating, especially via email, the formal ways of communicating with others, what kind of language that is involved while communicating, because in Sri Lanka, of course, we know people personally, so we don't have to go through professional media, so to contact them. So that was a really good thing that again I developed my own communication skills while I was in Speakers Bank.
And what can you say about the nature of the work that we're doing for people with disabilities and older people, the activities? Did you think that you also learned other skills in relation to that?
Yes. So we were involved in some projects, community op shop, barbecue sausage sizzle, storytelling workshops, and we were also participating in events organized by NDIS and other council and all that. So it really changed my own ideas about disability, first of all, because we are from Asian countries. We bring our own preconceived assumptions about disability, especially about when you're using the language, especially a lot of people say they used to look at the disability first and the person later. So they say disabled people. So while working in the Speakers Bank, what I realized was we have to look at the person first and then the disability. So especially I would say, rather than saying disabled person, we can say people with disabilities. So I have to say, they're people just like us, but disability is something that restricts them from accessing other resources in the society.
That's right.
And the other thing is, we also understood what is the social model of disability. It means the same thing, because usually it's their medical condition um, that make them, make the society feels like they are unable to access society. Right? It's our ideas and attitudes that make them disabled, I would say. So in case of when it comes to accessibility, when it comes to employment, when it comes to education, it's because of our attitudes that have created a barrier for them to access those things. So I would really like to promote that concept of social model of disability rather than the medical model of disability.
Okay, so I think we've converted you now. We've converted you as a disciple of advocating for the rights of vulnerable groups, older
Yes, I'm
people.
more than happy to do that. Yes.
Yes, which is good because you can also help spread the word, the right things to say, and the right mentality to really realize an inclusive society. So as a result of your placement, you're doing your second placement now, and you're progressing with your course. Do you think you are more confident now to work in this sector, that you are more equipped with the skills and the knowledge and the practical experience to really dive into bigger and greater things to do when you finish?
Yes, I'm very interested in working for people with disabilities, and also people with disabilities from other cultural background as well. So I would really, improving my knowledge about cultural awareness. We are Asian people, and we have to know about our clients and their cultural background before we provide support to them. And also we have to look at things from their point of view before we make a plan for themselves. So I believe I'm very interested working with people with disabilities because I have done a lot of research and I have talked to people who are working in the disability field, and so those are the things that I really made me think that I'm confident in working for them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as a person, I usually share things on social medias to promote a good image about these concepts, social model of disability and all that. I do that like myself.
That's good. That's becoming a part of your passion now, which is to help promote a positive image. That's really, really great. So can you tell me what's the next step for you at this point in your life? What are your goals, and what are you planning to do immediately after you finish with your schooling? What's the next step for you?
So I will be obviously looking for a job. I thought of maybe start volunteering first, so that I can get to know about this field a lot, and then seek other job opportunities where I can gain more knowledge and skills, so that I can be positively engaged with the advocacy and raising awareness about these people. Looking for a job, like a professional job in the disability field. Yes.
Yeah, and I think with the confidence that you gain and with the experience that you are which you now have, including the learnings that you will be gaining from your second placement, and I think volunteering is a logical next step. Some people don't like volunteering; they want to dive straight into a job, but I think the volunteering aspect of it is your link to gaining more practical experience and strengthening your CV and strengthening your personal knowledge and understanding of the field. So I believe that's the right call. And despite the difficulties of getting work now and doing work now, the work now, in terms of our current situation, we're all restricted. I still think there are still some opportunities out there. We just need to dig deeper and swim a little bit deeper also to look for the gems under the water, so to speak. So Harshani, thank you very much for taking time to be with me and sharing your experience.
Thank you so
in
much.
terms of your placement. I hope you You learned a lot. And is there any last advice that you can give, final message to the people that are listening to us at the moment?
Thing is, the only thing that I want to tell people is try to look at things from the people with disabilities, like from their point of view, like not from your preconceived assumptions or what you have learned about people with disabilities. The only thing is we have to be empathized, like not give like provide sympathy or something like that. So that's the only thing that I want to tell.
Mm-hmm. So it's really a total shift in your mindset now, and
Yes.
and that will empower you to also help other people who are really needing our support and our helping advocate for them.
Yes.
So thank you
Yes.
very much again, and we'll wave goodbye now to the audience members. Thank you everybody for listening to us,
Thank
and
you.
we'll see you at the next episode of the Speakers Bank podcast. Bye.